Hello, Michelle. Again,
Hello.
long
Hello
time no
again.
see. And hello,
Yes,
Eric. I still love you since like 30 minutes ago. We
because I
just
still love you too, Mama.
we just did a session on magic and magicians, but now we're going to talk about something else that might be magical, and that's time travel. A lot of people
Yes.
ask me, is there time travel? Can you? Well, if there's no time, if there's no linear time, and that is a human construct, then that makes it a little bit more complicated. But Eric, I'll give you the floor.
So Eric just said that's right. And he says, so time is not linear past the third dimension Earth of where we are right now.
Mm-hmm.
And he just said that time travel, however, is something that happens every day, has always happened, or what we consider time travel. And he says that's done within our consciousness.
Okay.
And that is the most prominent, everyday, always happens, what we consider time travel. He says, now the time travel that he said that most people want to hear about is the type that are we able to step into black holes? Are we able to disappear in a mirror and be in another place?
Mm.
He says, is that something, are there people coming from other times and traveling into our universe right now?
Yeah.
Because that's a lot of what controversy and what people are talking about right now. And he says, so there's kind of a yes and no to both those theories. And he says, which one did you want to talk about first?
Well, are there humans that have come in from the future into our time now? Has that happened?
No, he says not physical humans. So he says, so let's remember that also within what we consider time is, and he says again, this is human language that we are putting on this, but that we have dimensions. And there are beings that exist on other dimensions, and those beings can come back and forth. And he says, and they can come from other times, but he says it doesn't happen as in another being that's alive in another time cannot physically come through at this
from any dimension. Are there any beings from any dimension or universe that can
yes
that can they can go back and forth through time?
There are beings, but he's saying the human being. So the human being cannot physically. So he's saying physically, you say open a closet and walk through in the way that we would think.
Yeah.
But he said that interdimensional travel is very real. It's very real.
By humans?
Not in the way
beings. Okay.
Other beings, and he's saying, and then in spirit, the energy body.
Yeah. Well, we can astral travel. I guess we can project our consciousness to different places, but also to different times. Can we?
Yes.
Or we just focus our consciousness on another time, like 1884. Here we come.
Yes, and he said there are people that are very, very practiced with their astral traveling, and they're consciously going to places and seeing things in their astral travel. But he says that does take focus and practice to get to that point of doing so.
I'll never be able to do that at all. Oh my God.
He said you could, Mom. You could.
So these other beings that can cross the time barrier and dimensions, they can do it with a physical body, or like us, only with consciousness or in spirit?
Okay, so he's saying that, like he's showing me ETs, and he's saying that there are some beings that do physically come right into the earth, that they are coming from, that they're able to, so he's saying that their technology is much further advanced than ours, a lot of them. And so they are able to move from one area of the cosmos or one dimension into another physically, that they can do that the human race does not have the capability to do that in the same way. He says, that being said, he said that okay, this is going to get a little complicated. So he said that an ET could take a human body and could take it to another dimension with the way that they travel.
Come here to the mothership, little dearie.
So he said that is possible.
Yeah. Well, tell me about the technology they have. How does that work?
So he said, he was just showing me, it's like a film. And he said it's almost like a spray. And it's a film that they have that can go around them. And he said that you would think of it as their minds program where they're going. And this film can teleport them, can teleport like an entire ship, say.
Oh, wow.
Or whatever their carrier. He actually shows me there's a lot of smaller little, they look like upside down bonnets. They're kind of higher around here with little capsules. And he said that they can travel with those. And he also said too that there are a lot of sightings of this type of activity happening right now. Cool. And that will continue. A lot of that will continue. But he said that is there's other beings, he said, from other dimensions that can also travel. And he says that they do it with their consciousness, but physical body can travel. So he says that this is like an ET as well. Okay. So that would fall under the ET.
Okay.
So anything else is like with an energy body.
Okay. All right. So, but how does that film do it? I mean, it's here, maybe they have to go from point A to B, but maybe they do something with space or time so that they can cross it faster.
So now I don't have the scientific language to put to this, but Erik shows me little diamond-like particles, and he says that they shrink and they flip. The particles. So this spray, he's showing me how it shrinks right down to like these little pieces, and they flip, and then from this side you can't see it, and then from this side it goes into wherever it goes. So he says it's not like an invisible film. Okay. He says it changes the form. Okay. It changes so he says that they have gotten to the point where they're able to transmute their energy as it is and transform it into something else. Okay. And that is able to travel however that makes it easier for it to travel.
Is it travel in the literal sense? Let's get in the car and go on Sunday drive, or is it travel in a way that they can just transmute their energy and pop it in another place?
Yes.
Like, beam me up, Scotty. Okay.
Yes.
So they don't do anything like with this time-space fabric per se?
No. Okay. He says that it's literally like there is no actual physical movement to go somewhere. And he says just as all the dimensions and what we consider the universe and everything, the universes are all on top of each other. Yeah. So he said that like what we would consider heaven is considered to be the seventh dimension, and it's about 4 inches up off the ground. Yeah, so I understand. Erik a long time ago said heaven is just pretty much right on top of us, and all these dimensions are swirled like a chocolate vanilla ice cream cone. And that makes it different as far as going from one dimension to the next. That's cool. And so just as you said that, he shows me the particles again, and just how when you said as it swirls, it's like the particles transform and are able to move into wherever it is that you're going. And he says it's very difficult to put human language to some of these concepts. Yeah. So he's just saying I'm doing a pretty good job. But considering who you're working with. He said it is this is something, time travel is actually something that is being worked on, that science is working on. There's a lot of focus to this. He also said too that there are there's a lot of metaphysical focus in the metaphysical community about time travel. There's a real interest in this right now.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Well, does the government have the extraterrestrial knowledge of this crystals, or the diamond, the spray, or anything like that? So they know, they have the technology?
They don't have all the technology. They do have advanced technology. They do have some. Erik says that there has been some physical trial. He says not actually going into another location, but they do have some sort of they said they do have some sort of technology that they are playing with. They are aware of that is not known to the public. They also do have extraterrestrial information, and Erik says it's like there's some sort of a contract between between what he says as like a community, an ET community does have a contract, and it feels like it's would you say okay, so like they want to observe, they want to have a more access in the world, or more access to certain things. He says metal, certain types of metal or something, and that the government provides them with this shield, basically, to hide so that they can do what they need to do in return. And he says this is he's just trying to package it for understanding for us, but that they trade these things, and so that they have advanced information, and that their scientists, that they do specifically have scientists that work with these ETs. And this is all very quiet and
cool. Well,
not
the
known.
shield that hides them, is that alien technology or human technology?
That's alien technology.
I figured. Does every president know about all this stuff? Privy to it? Like, does Trump know that this exists?
Yes, he's aware of it. Erik says that he's not even he doesn't spend a lot of time in that direction.
Yeah.
That Erik says that he's aware of it. He knows it exists. He's poked his nose in, so to say, or so to speak, but he's not really focused on that. He doesn't have a heavy belief system.
I've got other problems to deal with.
Yeah, okay. And so he's not really, but Erik says that there are other presidents, the Russian president.
Putin?
And yes.
Okay.
The in the UK.
Okay. May.
And who's is it Kim Jong, or no, who's that one? The son.
Oh, Kim Jong-un?
Yes, that's him.
Or whatever, I don't know.
Yeah.
Wow.
He
knows that?
He has some knowledge. And I will say that it doesn't feel like a lot of knowledge. It feels like the US has a little more information than the other ones do.
All right. So I don't want nefarious people to have that technology. So when will it be available? When will the entire public, or most of it, know about this technology and time travel?
So Erik said that this is the way things are unfolding right now, and he actually said that there is the tipping scale, or the balance of the consciousness and awareness of ETs being real and being very much a part of our universe is starting to grow. And he says, so it looks like there's about he said there's a 30-year
30 came right to my mind before you said that.
Yeah, a 30-year growth. And he says it's like a crescendo. So it's how we're seeing it right now is it's coming out in personal bits and bits here and there. So we're starting to see, with the help of the internet, we're starting to see people connecting and having these experiences, sharing these YouTube videos. So then it becomes the people start to override the media and start to say, wait a minute here, You like, what's going on? This is actually happening and you're trying to shut it down. So people are slowly going to continue to rise above. And he said, we're really going to notice this in these next 2 years. We're really going to see a difference.
Why would the media want to hide this from the public?
Well, he says it's not all media, and he says, but the government does have some connection with some of the media outlets, and there are things that there are some things in place for damage control that they do see ahead, because he says there is a fear of the population becoming scared, and and they are trying to avoid that. But he says that there's also, unfortunately, a greater amount of it being power and control, and not wanting people to know really what's going on, and them wanting to have control of how it rolls out when it does. Because the government, Erik said, is well aware that people are going to find out, that they're not going to be able to keep this secret.
Of course not.
They already know. So they're trying to implement and have put things in place to, in their minds, control things.
Well, what kind of things? Maybe just name one thing they're putting in place.
So Erik just showed me like a press conference with already like a conversation of, this is already under control. This is taken care of. This is not a major concern. Like already they have all these things in place to comfort society. But he says what's going to happen is the challenge is going to turn more of like, he says a lot of whistleblowing, he said. A lot of
leakers.
And there'll be enough of that. And he said, but not only that, he goes, the real change happens with each individual that accepts and opens this and opens their consciousness to it. He says the energy that is in the universe right now is what supports that. So he says that's just going to keep going too. So he says in 30 years, things are going to look very different, but it's not all going to happen at once.
What about wormholes? Can we travel through wormholes, either the physical body or just our energetic body? And if so, what does that do?
He's actually saying that, yes, that you can. He says more of an energy body though, but he is showing me a human body with, it actually looks like an energy body taking it through, like a spiritual body. He's saying that the physical body cannot go through wormholes. That it's
I bet it don't look pretty on the other end. Oh my God, it's like going through a garbage disposal probably.
He said that it's more of something that one's astral body or consciousness would experience. But he also just wants to say too that and he says this could be a whole topic in itself, but there are blips, he will call them. He said they're like shorts, or he said that the fabric of the makeup of the universe and the energy all around us can sometimes be affected by whether it's the solar storms, moon cycles. He says all kinds of things can make a blip, just like an energy circuit for your hydro would blip out. And he goes, and this is when we get that feeling of lost time, or there are some things that are personal, but then you'll have a lot of people start to experience one thing at once. Gee, this week went by really fast, or I can't even remember Wednesday. He says, so those things aren't really our bodies traveling somewhere, but he says that there are these blips in the energy of the universe. And he says this is also something that science understands. And he said that, he says doesn't understand, but they know that there is more to it.
What's that have to do with wormholes? What's that have to do with wormholes, Erik?
He's just saying that because science is looking at those type of experiences as the body actually going somewhere. And he said that it's not really like the body goes somewhere. He says energetically it can, but he said, or consciously, but he's saying that the body can lose time, but it's not really losing.
Would it be bad if you had the technology to go back in time, consciousness or whatever, and read the what the price of Apple is then, and then go and make trades, would that change the whole space-time continuum, or what would happen if people did that?
He said,
Back to the future,
yes, yes, and he goes, so he says, if it were a physical thing, and he goes, it kind of can be done right now, in the sense that consciously you can travel back and change things. He goes, it's actually a
or
way that
actually, it seemed like you could go in the future and find out what a sports next week will the Astros win or lose. I messed it up. Or what will the price of such and such stock be? And then go ahead and make your trade or your bets.
He said that he says, wouldn't that be nice? He goes, because there'd be a lot of people cashing in winning lottery tickets.
Oh my God.
If that were the case. He says, if that were possible to physically do that, he said, people could get into it. Okay. He says, there's a reason why it doesn't happen the way it does.
Mm-hmm.
There's a reason why. And he said that traveling in time physically is something that will be available at some point. He said there's still going to be things that can and cannot be done.
Yeah.
And he says, because just the same as there's contracts in life, he said, if you did do that, let's say you did go ahead and you wanted to know the winning tickets for the next however many games or whatever, and you bet on them, he goes, you winning that could change somebody else that was supposed to win it, or could change. Like he said, there's different, he goes, without going in too many directions, but there's so many different things that could be affected by this one thing. So the way it's going to be is, he says, it's almost like laws of the universe. And he says, and it's not that you aren't able to do things, but if you do, it's a
the dominoes tip and
yes. So he goes, just the same as right now, you can cheat. You can cheat.
Oh yeah, but this is one dude. I think he's won the lotto 7 times, and I'm wondering if he's doing something like that, or maybe he's just.
Well, he said you can remote. He goes, there's a lot of things that you can do. He goes, because where people get caught up with time travel is they keep thinking of their body.
Yeah, but you can remote with your consciousness.
Remote, he goes, all of this stuff is possible. You can go into location. He goes, there's a lot of very talented people that are able to, use their ability to go into locations remotely and view all kinds of things. But he says, again, that's something that's practiced. And he goes, and society has this little bit of a habit of jumping on the instant gratification. I want to do it and have it all right now. He goes, but
if this guy who won 7 times, he must have gone remotely into when the balls dropped and the number was right, and then scribbled out his tickets. He'd have to go in the future to get that.
Yes, and yes, but that's probability for him. That would be what was. He goes, because think too, Mom. He goes, this could be a contract for him.
Yeah.
So just understand that this could be something that he's doing, and he's being allowed to win because that's the experience that he's here to have too.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of different probabilities.
I know he got my ticket. Okay, so 2 quick questions. I think we answered this one maybe. If you go back in the past remotely and if you change things, let's say we could by then use our bodies, whatever, will that significantly change the future? And vice versa, if you go to the future and change something, will that change the present and the past?
Erik said that depends on what it was that was being changed.
But it's possible.
He said, so, it could happen. Yes, it's possible.
Okay. Like say I was to go in the past right now and walk into your room and take the gun out of your hands. What would have happened?
He says, I may not have died at that moment, but he says I still would have died.
Yeah. Last question. Will we ever have like a time machine? The kind you see on Buck Rogers or whatever?
he just showed me the Doctor Who booth.
Oh yeah, right,
Like
right.
the little blue booth, and he just showed himself walking through it. He said it's going to be more of a door. He said this is going quite a bit into the future. He said it's going to be a door, and he says it's like a port, and he's actually showing people lining up to go through.
Cool.
So it almost looks like going through TSA. That's
Oh
really
my God. Oh my
light
God.
colored, but it doesn't feel quite
Feet on the
that.
yellow feet.
Yeah,
Yep. All right.
everybody's got their little luggage and stepping through.
I know, really. No more than 3 ounces of liquids on carry-on or whatever it is. Anyway, all right. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Eric. You guys can with her at TheHertH.ART.com. And I will put it right here.
Yay.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you. Thank you. I love you, Eric.
Bye.
I love you, Michelle.
Love you, Mama. I love you. Bye.
Bye.